Hi, I'm Bob. This is Velo-Pro. Those are our canned birds, and this is my vegetable fruit juice cocktail. Today we're going to talk about a killer hormone, cortisol. Cortisol is responsible for helping us in dire situations, but it's also bad when we're constantly being pumped full of the stuff, and we're going to talk about it. Cortisol is a hormone which is released through various stimuli, such as loud sounds, stress, overtraining perhaps. Overtraining might be fun, but mental stress that causes us anxiety, those types of things, cortisol is triggered. Loud impact hammers, air chisels working on the street and that sort of thing can trigger cortisol. Diesel cars, mopeds, and backfiring cars can cause a cortisol reaction. These are all stimuli, and we may not have any control over what our brain does with it, but we can help. And I'm going to talk about what we can do to reduce the threat cortisol presents to us city dwellers. Okay, now, one of the things that we do know is when we're dehydrated or thirsty, our brain sees that as a type of stress and wants to store fat, and it also stores cortisol. So drinking plenty of water and vegetable fruit juice cocktail is most beneficial. One of the other things, and it's probably most important, is in the morning when we rise, cortisol sort of kicks in. It's a hormone that'll kick in around 8 in the morning, maybe. And it'll stay with us, and throughout the day, it should dissipate and go to a lower level, and then the serotonin and such will take over and help us sleep at night. And we've already talked about the benefits of good sleep many times, and we will in the future. Sometimes it might be better to skip breakfast and just have a glass of water or a glass of fruit juice or something than eat a bowl of sugary cereal. Now, the reason is these sweet cereals stimulate us and help us produce more adrenaline, more cortisol, and of course the sugar gives us a lift, and we probably had that cup of coffee. So we've had our coffee and the sugar, so we're really feeling high, but that is such a temporary fix. And then we crash, and then we feel worse. We actually can become a little depressed, maybe lethargic, memory not working so good, and that kind of thing. By 3 o'clock, maybe we want to take a nap, and that shouldn't be. If we eat a balanced high-protein breakfast, maybe yogurt, a couple eggs, and whole grain breads, full grain, with not white bread, but whole grain breads, or ultimately oatmeal, which is the best, that'll stay with us and benefit us in many other ways as well, while not overstimulating cortisol. Okay, those spikes in the blood sugar that drop, they really do affect us. And you'll notice when I talk about bicycle training, I only talk about eating things that are low in sugar. We don't eat sugary snacks when we train. Okay. We talked before about noise pollution in Madrid, and we know that 500 folks die every year from it in the city of Madrid. And the effects are related directly to cortisol, and I did a story already in the Advanced Nutrition playlist on noise pollution for your consideration. So I won't go into it too much, but noise pollution, jackhammers, all those things affect us negatively. What we can do, aside from a moderate and healthy diet, is quiet rest, Exercise and relaxing exercise, like walking the dog, rowing the boat in the pond, that sort of thing, where we're doing something that we enjoy, but not too stressful. Breathe, stretch, and focus on the positive. Okay, we want to literally suck it in, just let it breathe well, and that benefits everything. If you breathe too much, you'll get dizzy. So that's fun too. Okay, number four, I'm sorry. Low carb, high protein breakfast. Again, avoid carbs unless it's a whole grain, preferably oatmeal. Eggs and yogurt, cheese, that sort of thing are all terrific breakfasts. And that glass of milk, and of course, vegetable fruit juice cocktail. Always have that with your breakfast. Number 5, healthy fats in the morning. That strip of bacon is okay. That butter on your toast, that whole grain toast is okay. We're not eating that much of this stuff. A little bit of healthy fat's good for us. And it will help us balance hormonal stress, because sugars stimulate and these other things are digested slowly and work throughout a longer period of time. Much better for us. Now, I'm going to read off an article called How Cortisol Levels Can Kill. And I would call it Why Life in the City Should Be Avoided. But anyway, humans are constantly facing various challenges, and our body has to adapt in order to be able to survive. These challenges are also known as stress. Stress can be chronic or acute, but in the world we live today, it's generally chronic, which means it's all the time. Those jackhammers working on those sewer pipes for the last 2 years, chronic. Okay. Why cortisol can be dangerous. When we are faced with extreme excitement, our body releases nephrine and epinephrine, which is a type of adrenaline, and these two hormones enable us to make quick decisions. Both are dissipated very rapidly. That means they get into the blood system quick. When you get an adrenaline rush, it's right now. Okay, but then there's cortisol. Cortisol, unlike adrenaline, doesn't dissipate. It stays with you all day. So when you're hearing those jackhammers while you're trying to listen to your morning news reports, that's affecting you throughout the day. And it affects your happiness and health. And we're going to talk about that because it does create many health problems, including osteoporosis, weight gain, because we're stressed and we eat more, hormonal imbalance because our hormones are being skewed by stress and outside artificial stimuli. Digestive issues, of course, when you don't feel well, when you're not relaxed, you don't feel well to eat. Heart disease goes together. Cancer and diabetes. When you are constantly faced with stress, you can feel tired but still wired at the same time. So you're laying in bed, you want to go to sleep, but you can't. How many times does that happen? That's probably cortisol. I talked about melatonin, and some people shouldn't take it, and others can and do benefit. So take a look at that chapter in Advanced Nutrition, because melatonin is one of the things I use, but other people can't, and I'm sorry that it's not good for everyone. Okay, what happens during stress? When you are faced with a stressful situation, your body stops working on all the important things such as digestion and keeping your immune system in check, or making you fertile. After all, your body thinks you are facing an emergency situation, so all those things are of secondary importance. Instead, your heart starts to race, Your blood pressure goes up and your breathing becomes quicker. We become focused. We become sharper too. And all these things are great, but for un, for most stimuli doesn't need a response. It just calls for one and we don't want to respond. It's just there. Because stress kills brain cells. Okay? There have been a number of animal studies that show cortisol kills blood cells. Rats were injected with cortisol or subjected to daily stresses, and both showed a reduction in the number of brain cells. Most importantly, they were ability to remember. And I'll leave that there because this goes on for pages. But the other issue is cortisol can kill us, and it can do it in a variety of ways, including chronic health conditions, obesity, heart disease, high cholesterol, depression, Alzheimer's, diabetes, osteoporosis, reduced sex drive, and memory problems. And all of this because of artificial stimuli that should be mitigated. But it can't be because we live in a real world. So we can eat better, and we can exercise, and we can try to get into a quiet, restful place, parks, that sort of thing. Take our puppy and try to do healthy activities to mitigate some of this. Because this continues on. I don't want to use too much time. I'll leave the link. This is a wonderful article because we are killing ourselves with artificial stimuli. And I blame diesel cars, mopeds, airplanes, artificial stimuli that causes us to react. How many times have you heard someone say, "Oh, you gave me such a start"? And the reason they said that is because they got startled. They got a knee-jerk reaction. A knee-jerk reaction is because our adrenaline glands are there. So that's where the term comes from, I think. And we get that into our blood, and there it is. And there's nothing for it. So we need to live a healthy and balanced life and face stress all at the same time. It's not so easy. That's why we need to have a proper breakfast. So I'm going to get going, and I thank you so much. Sorry about the fly.